Hi, I'm Kaye Spivey. For today's video, I decided to do kind of a stream of consciousness video. I really enjoy watching those, and I think it was about time for an update, so I thought I might go ahead and just sort of ramble at you. We'll see how it goes. I don't know for sure if everything is going to make it into the final cut, but I thought I'd just kind of ramble a bit, let you know what's going on with my writing, and yeah. So first of all, update about Death Valley. It is hot. It's been really weird because it's been up over 120 since I've been here, which is ridiculous. We have a really good AC at home, and I'm mostly at home most of the time, but going outside has just been killer. It's about a minute and then you start just feeling it. So 120 has been really bad, but it dropped down to 90, and 90 felt nice and cool, which is a little bit... I'm kind of disappointed with myself that 90 feels cool. That's not normal. But I've been doing some good writing. I'm working on my novel. My novel is not quite young adult. I've actually aged up my characters, so the age range for my target audience is about 20 to 30s instead of teenage. This is about my 7th draft. And one of the things that wasn't really working was character motivation. I got a lot of feedback back about the character motivation from my previous draft during the beta phase. So I rethought a lot of it, and one of the things that really needed to be fixed was the character ages. So my main character is now older instead of being a teenager, and I think it makes a lot more sense. I also sort of condensed the ages of some of the main characters. I had some much older characters and much younger characters, and it just wasn't working out. So I fixed the ages. One of the other things that I had read somebody posted somewhere was that they felt that if you are reading a fantasy, they want to see the magic, they want to see the dragons, they signed up for fantasy, so they want to see fantasy. And that makes a lot of sense. I'm telling everyone I have a fantasy book, but I was sort of shying away from the magic as much as possible. So in this draft, there is a lot of magic. I put in tons and tons of magic. I have a lot more action scenes with magic involved. There's also, I go a lot more in depth into kind of the awareness of the prejudices against the magical characters. The awareness that they have and the awareness that my main character, Rowan, has. She was brought up to be very prejudiced against magic, but has sort of figured out throughout her life that she doesn't feel that way. I'm working really hard to have a very big difference between how people treat people who have magic, which is an extremely powerful expression. It's very dangerous. We talk about the danger quite a bit throughout this book. The danger as well as the benefits are sort of placed side by side, which I think was really important for this book. That even though magic is something that someone's born with, it can be used for extreme good or extreme bad. And that the laws for and against magic doing certain things are both good and bad in different ways, and when controlled by different people. I thought it's really important to have kind of a non-black and white type of setup for this world. So Rowan is sort of learning about the internal prejudices against magic and meeting people who are magic, and there's a lot more magic, and I think it makes a lot more sense. I think going into it this way is going to work out a lot better. So yay! So I'm working on that. Maybe not as far in as I should be, but I'm sort of going back and revising as I go, so hopefully the read-through is a lot cleaner. We still don't have internet. At the time I'm filming this, I've been 3 weeks without internet. I have very, very spotty, limited access. I found that Twitter is really good for getting a little bit of a feed. You can sort of load a lot on Twitter and then read it back later when there isn't any internet. So I've actually been using quite a bit of Twitter. I haven't been hardly using my Tumblr. I haven't watched anything on YouTube. I can't post to YouTube easily. It's a big to-do posting it, and then I can't do any kind of fixing up or editing or end credits, nothing. I can't fix anything. So I've been filming some, but mostly I've just been out exploring Death Valley. It's really pretty. It's different from how I imagined. I sort of imagined these big, vast sand fields, but it's a lot of really interesting rock formations, a lot of really interestingly colored rocks. Death Valley started out as a mining town. They mined borax here. They were looking for gold. No gold, as far as I know, was ever found in Death Valley National Park, but the 49ers were out here, so there are gold mines, but it's mostly borax that they mined, which is a cleaning agent. And there's the salt fields, which are fairly spectacular, but the different colors in the rocks, because of all the different chemicals that are out here, is just spectacular. If you're interested in seeing some of the prettier sights from Death Valley, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been able to post pictures there periodically, so you can kind of keep up with me exploring the park and seeing how everything is here. It's really hard. I've been doing a lot of stargazing, but none of my cameras can pick up any of the stars. It's incredible. You can see the Milky Way really, really clearly. Jupiter's been out really clearly. You've been able to see Saturn. It's just really spectacular at night. It doesn't really cool down more than 10 degrees. It's 110 going out to stargaze, but we've been doing a lot of that. The days that it's cooled down, we're kind of going out, exploring a little. Death Valley is one of the only national parks I've been to that's really set up for you to stay in your car. They really sort of go out of their way to make sure that you stay in your car. Whereas a lot of other national parks, there's a lot to force you out of your car, force you to come see the park very much in person, and it's just different here. It's just so hot and so dry. It's really difficult climate to, I guess, live in, but even just to visit. A lot of people feel, I don't know, heat exhaustion. A lot of people just can't handle it. I, first couple of weeks, felt sick if I was out in the sun for too long. You probably dehydrate faster than you realize out here, so it is a really harsh climate. Slowly we're going and exploring places. A lot of places I'm sort of going in my car and seeing it, taking some pictures, going back, but if it's nice enough, I go out and explore the area a little bit, do little short hikes. We're planning a bigger hike coming up, so probably way before this video gets posted, there'll be more pictures on my Instagram, so go check that out. I will link it in the description. I don't ever plug my Instagram. I have Instagram, I've got Twitter, obviously I have YouTube. Other news in my life, I'm doing wedding planning. My wedding's in October. If any of you have planned a wedding, it's a lot of work. It's not even a lot of detail work, it's just so many things so spread out. So slowly it's all coming together. The big parts are done. There's a lot of paying for things that has to get done. There's a lot of small details that have to be done that hopefully I'm going to be back in Washington for a week, and hopefully I can get a lot of that done there. So if everyone just comes together and is really, really happy, and I'm really happy, then everything else is extraneous, right? I hope so. So yeah, so wedding planning, working on finding a job. National Park Service, it's run through the government. Obviously our government has some issues right now, big ones. Not a fan of the current administration, but I can't wait until the voting period comes up in November, and hopefully everybody is paying attention and we can just clear out all the assholes in Congress who have been sitting on their butts, who sat on their butts for all of Obama's administration, didn't do shit. Get rid of all the congressmen who keep trying to get rid of Obamacare without having any kind of replacement, who keep trying to undermine all of the American people, basically. If we can get rid of all of them and just replace everybody, let's just get a whole new set of representatives and senators. Let's just get changed out this coming November. Let's just change them, unless they have proven that they are willing to fight for the people that they represent. Let's just get rid of them all. That's how I feel. I feel like any representative or senator who hasn't pulled their weight to really fight for the American people, not for their party, but for the people that they represent, should just get kicked out. Obviously something has to change. Everyone was all about drain the swamp, so don't vote back anybody who caused us to be living under, I don't know, Trump rule. That's another thing. I feel like the word Trump can just go ahead and mean incompetence now. Like you talk about like having your Trump card, and it used to mean like your good card at the end. You save it for last and you'll win everything with your Trump card. I think now it should be like why do you even have this card? It's utterly useless. It's stupid to even have it. It's your Trump card. Like that just didn't even belong in there. That has lost you the entire game. So that I think is the new meaning of Trump card. So pass it on. Start using it, which is such a fluid thing, and I think if the common usage of the word Trump has changed, then we need to be changing with the times. So Trump card now means useless and incompetent. I'm not going to end there because that sounds pretty dark. Let me just see. Poetry things. Let's talk some more about writing before I end this, to end on a happier note. I talked about my novel already. It's going alright. It's going slowly. I'm going to start querying agents as I'm sort of finishing up with this draft. Obviously the idea is all there. A lot of the chapters have been written and are going to stay similar. I just need to retype them out. So I have enough that I feel like I can start the query process, and by the time anyone gets back to me, I'm going to have the novel done. So I'm at that point. Poetry, I'm still writing in my notebook. Obviously, An Isolated Storm, my chapbook, is for sale on CreateSpace and Amazon in paperback and ebook. And Fragments, my new poetry collection, is also available on CreateSpace and Amazon in paperback and ebook. Otherwise, I'm planning to finish my novel first and then probably start working on compiling a new poetry book. I'd sort of like to do one geared towards living at Death Valley. I've slowly started writing poems that are within that vein, and I think if I start focusing on it and I get to writing enough poems, maybe I'll have a Death Valley related poetry book. That would be kind of fun. I've taken some really gorgeous pictures, so it might be nice to do kind of a picture and poetry book that's really geared towards that. It'd be nice to have more of the national parks too, but I don't know how soon we're going to be visiting any others or living at any others, so we'll see. I've been kind of out of touch. I didn't do Camp NaNoWriMo. I noticed there was a big booktube-a-thon. Didn't have internet for any of that, so I just kind of been a bit out of touch, and sorry. It's gonna probably keep being that way a little bit, but I want to touch base. It's sort of hard to be without internet when you want to have internet, when you have a lot that you could be doing with it, but it's on the other hand kind of nice to be a little bit distanced from everything. It has been refreshing to only sort of be able to read the news once a day rather than sort of constantly refreshing and getting the horrors over and over again. It's been kind of nice to sort of go through and just be like, whoa, what's everybody talking about with this thing? And then I can't even look at it in much detail, which is a little frustrating, but at the same time maybe good. There's so much shit that's been going on, and I'm just really disappointed with the American government right now. As a country, we're gonna pull through. There are lots of good things happening in the world right now too. But there's a lot of good, there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of people striving towards good things. And we just have to keep keeping that in mind and keep doing what we can to help as well when we can. So, yeah. As you can see, I hardly brought any books with me. I actually haven't probably been reading as vigorously as I thought I was going to, but if you have any poetry book suggestions for me, I'd really like to try and get some more poetry books while I'm back in Washington, so I have more poetry to read. So send me some suggestions and hopefully I'll be able to get to those. I'm thinking in terms of poetry books for myself, probably in November for NaNoWriMo I'm going to run a giveaway leading up to Christmas for Fragments again, so stay tuned for that. And like I said, follow me on Instagram for more pictures from Death Valley, and check me out at kayespivey.wordpress.com, and follow me on Twitter. Anyway, so that's been my ranting for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it and weren't just irritated by it. And if you like this kind of video, give me a like and subscribe. If not, go ahead and let me know. It's fine. And hopefully I'll have more internet access soon. But until then, hopefully I will have another video for you on Saturday. Bye!